Hi, it's Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at a brand that you've possibly not heard of before, but they've been around for about 20 years. This is a brand called Fikwot. Yeah, it's a slightly unusual name for those of us here in the European and English areas, but I guess it means something. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Fikwot FN501 Pro NVMe drive. This is a PCI Express Gen 3 x4 drive designed for the M.2 2280 slot size. This has been sent over to us by the good people over at Fikwot, and potentially, for those of you that are watching and are fans of Mike's Unboxing, there potentially might be a limited voucher code available actually in the video description, so do check that out. I'm going to try and pressurize them to give you lot a little bit of a discount on this drive, although they generally tend to be heavily discounted anyway. And at the time of recording on Amazon.co.uk, they're retailing for around about £53.99, which puts it pretty much towards the bottom of the 1TB drives on the market of that particular speed. Although I did find in some kind of weird way, the PCI Express Gen 4 x4 drive is actually a couple of pounds cheaper currently. That is the thing with Fikwot and also Amazon pricing. It does tend to fluctuate, so please do check out the links in the video description for the latest pricing. So potentially you might get a very good deal on these drives, and actually I am putting my money where my mouth is. Although they have sent me one of these drives for review purposes, I've actually gone ahead and I've been buying them anyway. And for those of you that are regulars to the channel, you'll know that I've been using Fikwot drives in some of our builds here, and they've been absolutely fine. Now if you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm not really sure, it's an unknown brand, it's an unknown quantity, what is the actual deal? Well, Fikwot have been around for about 20 years in the production of OEM chips, and generally sell to other manufacturers. So potentially you've already got a Fikwot drive in your machine already and you don't even know it. But they've actually started to now actually launch these under their own branding to the retail sector, and I for one am glad they have, because there's a little bit more competition in the already rather strange market. Prices do tend to fluctuate very, very rapidly, but with their distribution and also the fact that they make the drives themselves, they can control those costs a little bit better. So let's take a look at some of the specifications of this drive, and then a little bit later we'll take a look at some of the benchmarks. So to begin with, it's PCI Express Gen 3 x4. Like I said, it's the M2280 form factor. This drive actually uses a pseudo SLC cache, and from my testing it seems that the SLC cache that has been kind of put to one side, or a dynamic cache, is somewhere in the region of about 80 gigabytes. So for transferring most files, you're going to be absolutely fine, and you don't have to worry about actually having a DRAM chip on the drive, which generally makes them more expensive. The read speeds on this, you're looking at 3500 megabytes per second, write speeds of 3150 megabytes per second, and again, in my testing, this has been basically bang on the money, no problems there at all. Something else that should be noted as well is the temperatures of this drive. Now, being PCI Express Gen 3x4, it doesn't generate a lot of heat, but it doesn't require any assistance. There is a graphene pad on there which aids heat distribution, and in our testing here it didn't get very much over 40 degrees Celsius, whether it be idling or whether it was under full load. So yeah, no problems there whatsoever. No additional heat sinks or cooling required. The actual chips themselves, they're using a TLC, or a triple level cell chip, and this is all controlled by the Maxio MAP1202 controller, and we're using YMTC 128 layer 3D NAND Flash chips. Again, we don't have any DRAM cache on this, and it is taking advantage of HBM, or host buffer memory, alongside that pseudo SLC cache. So you probably noticed there I made a little bit of a deal about the TLC, so that stands for triple level cell. Now, drives on the market these days generally tend to be one of two types, so there's the TLC and there's the QLC. Now QLC is quad level, TLC is triple level, and generally in terms of longevity and actually reliability, the triple level ones are preferable, although generally they're more expensive to produce. QLC drives generally tend to be a slightly bigger capacity because they can fit more on them, but they don't always have quite the longevity or the performance. And also when it comes down to the things like the warranty and longevity, these come with a 3-year limited warranty, and also will have up to 640 terabytes written as their kind of threshold of when the drive is good or bad, although sometimes you'll find it more than that, but you'll probably struggle to get it to that level anyway. So you know the specs of the drive, you know approximately the price of the drive, and you know that potentially you might get a great deal on them from the links in the video description. So let's take a quick look at some of the benchmarks and see what it's all about. So as I said here, the results are coming in and it's pretty much bang on the money for what you'd expect, and also from what they're quoting, which is always a nice thing to see. And it does seem that the Maxio MAP1202 controller does seem to be doing a pretty decent job here. It's been used widespread on a lot of drives on the market right now, as have the YMTC 128 layer 3D NAND Flash chips. So again, this is somewhat of a known quantity, even though you potentially might not know the brand name. So there you go, I think that's pretty much covering everything about this Fikwot FN501 Pro drive. Like I said, Fikwot have been around a pretty long time as well, and they do other drives as well. So maybe if you want PCI Express Gen 4, or you just want a larger capacity, smaller capacity, these actually range from 256. There's also a 512, you've got the 1TB like we've got here, and also there's a 2TB option as well. Again, all with very competitive prices. So I think that's going to wrap things up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have, smash that like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, then maybe consider hitting the subscribe button and then click on the chime notification. That way you'll be notified of future video releases. But for now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.